So Wuthering Waves version 2.3 has been out for a couple of days now, and people have been really enjoying it. I think it's honestly caught a lot of people by surprise about how good the actual update was and how enjoyable a lot of the characters and stuff have been added to. But one of the big problems that was actually pointed out in Wuthering Waves was a lack of a Steam Deck version. Now, as you can see, I'm actually here on the Steam page right now, and it seems like Kura Games kind of have a response to, what is going to be happening with the Steam Deck version, because as we went through a lot of the kind of reviews and stuff that have been going on, a lot of the negative reviews for the game have been coming from the aspect of, this doesn't run on Steam Deck. They're saying great game, but doesn't run on Steam Deck. Will change the positive review to positive once they fix the game for Steam Deck, which again, I do think it is kind of just bad to leave a negative review just for the case that there isn't a Steam Deck. I feel like you should be doing it if the game is actually bad and not because it's not on a platform that you want it to be. But I guess if that's the way that you want to send the message, then that's fine. And obviously, as I said, we do have a response from Wuthering Waves and also Steam themselves talking about the possibility of this happening, which is very exciting for the future, as Wuthering Waves has been doing extremely good over on Steam, even better than whenever I last looked at the chart. They're actually up to around 12,000 players playing right now, with a peak of 15,000, meaning that there is a ton of new players over there and also a ton of older players coming back to the game, which is really great to see. And remember, this is just Steam alone. This doesn't count the thousands and thousands of players playing on some of the other clients, which is really exciting to see and really positive for the game in general. They've been, bashing a ton of charts at the moment, especially over on PlayStation and also, on Steam as well, which is great. But this article pretty much says Wuthering Waves Steam Deck version in development report. Say Kura Games open world action RPG, Wuthering Waves is a major milestone, having just marked its first anniversary with the launch of version 2.3 earlier this week. Not only does the update bring plenty of new material, but it also sees the game launched for the first time on the Steam platform, opening up to a wider PC gaming audience. The version 2.3 update, which is called Fiery Arpeggio of Summer Reunion, introduces a set of new features and events to celebrate the game's anniversary. The Steam launch of the game is a tactical decision to capitalize on the vast user base of the platform. Also, they did mention there the discoverability of the platform too, and they say Wuthering Waves features cross-platform progression, allowing players to actually switch between PC, mobile, and the upcoming PlayStation 5 release. I'm pretty sure it is already released on PlayStation 5, so I don't know why they're saying upcoming, without losing any progress. The integration promotes a unified gaming experience across platforms. Now, then they go on to say Steam Deck compatibility, current status, and developer response. They say in the wake of the Steam release, numerous people from the community have asked if the game will support Valve's portable gaming PC, the Steam Deck. As things stand now, Wuthering Waves is not officially supported on the Steam Deck because of its kernel-level anti-cheat mechanism, which complicates matters in Linux-based systems such as Steam OS. And this is a big problem that happens with a lot of games that are over on the Steam Deck. For example, this is a very niche one, but FIFA or EAFC or whatever you want to call it, they have their own EA anti-cheat system, which stops people from playing the game because people can't run it due to the anti-cheat that is trying to run on the device as well. And apparently the platform just doesn't mix with that. So again, that's something that the games have to figure out with Steam to kind of get around it. Now they say, however, Kura Games have acknowledged this demand and it's actively working to resolve these compatibility issues. And an update on the Steam page says we're working to resolve Wuthering Waves' compatibility with Steam Deck and will share updates in the community. This indicates a commitment to expanding the game's accessibility, though no specific timeline has been provided. Even without official support, a few players have even tried to play Wuthering Waves on the Steam Deck through workarounds using third-party applications such as Proton GE and Lutris, which again is some other things. Like some people can actually kind of change up their Steam Deck to run almost like Windows normally, and then they can run Wuthering Waves on it. But again, I don't recommend that at all. I would just wait for it to come out because it definitely seems like they are working on it. As we see here on the Steam page, you can actually see we're working to resolve Wuthering Waves' compatibility with Steam Deck and we'll share updates in the community. Thank you for understanding. So I don't know how soon this is going to be. I don't know if this is going to be announced in the next update, obviously for the 2.4 update, I think it is, or if it's going to be announced in an even further update. But I feel like this is a good step forward for Wuthering Waves, especially whenever it comes to kind of developing this on handheld consoles. I feel like this could be a definite learning step and could be something that they could implement whenever it comes to releasing on even more devices. For example, the Nintendo Switch 2, Obviously, the Steam Deck is pretty huge, and I feel like the Steam Deck is going to be a good component to actually run Wuthering Waves on due to its power and due to how good it is. So again, I'm very excited to see that. but you know, it would be nice as well to see it on other consoles, for example, like the Nintendo Switch 2, which is getting a ton of hardware upgrades, which means, you know, Wuthering Waves should be able to run a little bit easier. Obviously, a lot of games have struggled. For example, like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star, stuff like that, have struggled to get it over on Nintendo Switch, which again, you know, I don't think it's a kind of issue with the hardware on it. I think it's more an issue of just getting the two companies to agree on some stuff, which again, I just don't think it's coming to the Nintendo Switch 1 anymore. But maybe it'll come out on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm hoping the Wuthering Waves will also be there as well, as you know, they are already working on handheld kind of stuff for the game. And also, I don't know if it is available on some other kind of handheld devices, for example, like the ROG Ally. I've seen a lot of people play on that, so I think it might be available over there. So if you do have one of those, definitely give it a try. But again, it's only a matter of time until we see when the Steam Deck comes out, and that is pretty much all of the kind of response we've had from Kuro Games there in regards to it, because there has been a big number of you know, people kind of going into the reviews and reviewing it negatively due to the fact of it not having a Steam Deck version, which I think is a little bit absurd. I think that, yeah, downvoting it or not recommending it due to the fact that it doesn't have a Steam Deck version is just dumb. I feel like that's just way too far, because obviously people read the reviews, people see what is bad about the game, and I'm hoping they actually do read the reviews and just say, oh, it doesn't have a Steam Deck version, because I think the majority of users over on Steam don't use a Steam Deck. Even though, you know, the Steam Deck is made by Steam, I think the majority of users for Steam is PC users, which obviously, it not having a Steam Deck version doesn't really affect a PC user's gameplay or anything like that. So, but again, some people might see the big red, like, dislike, like, not recommended sign and just click off it because they think, you know, oh, there's a problem with it, when that actually isn't. It's just people want a Steam Deck version. But again, if you guys really want to see that, then I definitely recommend going down into the feedback thing, which obviously Wuthering Waves do release, I'm pretty sure, every update, possibly even more than that. So I definitely recommend, in just the extra information bit, typing, hey, can we get a Steam Deck version, or literally anything else that you want, rather than going into Steam reviews and review bombing it every time something that doesn't go your way doesn't happen. Because again, that is such a it's a very toxic way of going about it, I feel like. And I feel like, you know, if we just provide feedback to them and tell them what we want, we should be able to get whatever we want out of it, because, you know, they've listened in the past, and it's not like we need to resort to stuff like negative reviews like this just yet, due to the fact of, you know, they do listen whenever we do provide feedback, which I think is pretty good. And obviously, as I said, you know, Wuthering Waves is doing absolutely amazingly on Steam right now, even without the Steam Deck version being out. So again, it'll be very interesting to see this number over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, to see if this does increase or if this does decrease, because it's very nice to see that there is a consistent player base currently playing the game ever since the launch. You know, it's been a couple of days now since it's come out on Steam, and it still seems to be just where it was at, you know, after the game actually initially launched, which I think is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see even more players coming over to the game. But yeah, that's all I got for this. That's pretty much all the updates we have on the Steam Deck version coming to Wuthering Waves. And if there is any more news, I'll definitely keep you guys up to date and let you know whatever is going on, because again, it is a pretty crazy situation. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you think that Wuthering Waves should be added to the Steam Deck as soon as possible? And do you have a Steam Deck that you'll play on? Because again, I'm very interested to see the kind of number of Steam Deck users that actually are, or is it just a small amount that is just like kind of review bombing it? I don't know. But yeah, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go into Game Subs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.